On Tuesday, an American Navy helicopter fired 2 Hellfire missiles into the engine room of a cargo ship in the Gulf of Oman. The ship was the Vela Nova, Panama flag, civilian crew. U.S. Central Command says it ignored repeated warnings before the missiles went into its steering gear and did not say whether anyone aboard was hurt. Hold that picture, because in the same week the President of the United States described that water as being, in his words, under total American control. About a fifth of the world's oil and gas used to move through that strait. Used to. It has been effectively shut since February, and this week, crude closed above $100 a barrel for the first time since the fighting began. That is not a line in a foreign news section. That is your next tank of fuel. So tonight, one question. If America controls the Strait of Hormuz, why is nothing sailing through it? Start with the ledger, because Central Command published it. As of the 11th of August, it has redirected 55 commercial vessels attempting to run the blockade, disabled 3 that would not comply, and boarded 2. The blockade, it says, remains in full effect. Those sentences sit badly together. The Islamic Republic closed the strait from one side and demands a fee to open it. The United States turns ships around on the other side and fires on the ones that keep going. Both governments describe themselves as the authority over that water. Both are telling the truth. And 2 authorities produce exactly what no authority would. Nothing moves. That is the thing nobody is saying plainly. The Strait of Hormuz is not contested. It is jointly closed. One side calls it leverage and the other calls it enforcement. And from the bridge of a tanker, there is no way to tell those apart. Which raises the only question that matters next. If the door is jammed shut by 2 hands, where does the pressure go? It goes to the next door. Last Tuesday, Yemen's internationally recognized government said 6 people were killed and 10 wounded when the Iran-backed Houthis struck a cargo ship in the Red Sea. The Houthis said it carried Saudi military equipment. Whatever it carried, that is the first deadly attack on a ship by that group since this war began. And it was announced in advance. A week earlier, the managing editor of Kayhan, the hardline Tehran daily, published a column titled "Close Bab el-Mandeb and See the Result." That strait is the other way out of this region, and the column argued Iran could reach it with its own missiles from 2,300 kilometers away. You do not have to guess at intent when the regime prints it in its own newspaper. So the shape is this. Tehran could not win the argument at the first choke point, so it opened the second one and paired it with Iraqi militia drone strikes on Saudi energy facilities in Riyadh and the eastern province. Squeeze the same customer from 2 sides and let the oil price do the rest for free. Now look at what the Islamic Republic wants back at the first door. Iranian officials want 5 to 7% of the value of every cargo that crosses. Oman, mediating, is discussing 3. Washington wants 0. And Iran's own deputy foreign minister says the route under negotiation would be temporary, 2 to 4 months. Sit with that. What is being sold as the reopening of a global waterway is a toll booth with an expiry date, and nobody is within 4 points of anybody on the price. We have covered the empty chair in Tehran, so one line. The man presented as supreme leader has not appeared in public since February. What is new is this week. Regional reporting says Mojtaba Khamenei appointed 6 new chiefs to Iran's war-ravaged military command. 6. That is not a negotiating team. A leadership that means to end a war staffs a delegation. This one staffed a war command, while its factions argue openly about which direction the war should take. One more item, which most coverage filed as a curiosity. Leaving a NATO summit in Ankara last month, the President of the United States did not board the aircraft the world watched him board. The Washington Post and the New York Times report he was moved to a smaller plane inside an airport catering truck, while the traveling press sat on the decoy with their window shades ordered shut. A U.S. official told the Post that a credible Iranian threat to his life set the deception in motion. Bill Clinton did the same thing in the year 2000, flying into Pakistan behind a decoy jet. That is not a color story. A president who rides to his plane inside a catering container because Tehran is trying to kill him is not a president about to put his name next to Tehran's. In the same week, he shifted back to economic pressure and began demanding compensation from Iran. That is the reporting. Here is our take. The Strait of Hormuz will not reopen because both sides now need it shut, and neither can afford to say so. The Islamic Republic needs the closure because it is the last leverage it holds that the world feels in its own pocket. Washington needs the blockade because the blockade is the pressure campaign, and it is currently the cheapest thing it is doing. And nobody in Tehran can sign anything anyway, which those 6 appointments just confirmed in public. The twin is Suez, 1956. Egypt nationalized the canal, Britain and France and Israel went in to take it back, and when the shooting stopped, the canal sat full of sunken ships for months. The powers that intervened won the military engagement and lost the waterway. The world sailed around Africa and built bigger tankers, and the canal never recovered what it had been. Here is where that twin misleads, and the difference is the whole story. In 1956, there was a way around. For the oil and gas of the Persian Gulf, there is no Cape of Good Hope. There is one door. When 2 powers keep the only door shut while each blames the other, the cost is not rerouted, it is paid. The strongest argument against us is the Oman route, and it is serious. A temporary channel may well open because everyone collects something. Tehran gets a toll and control of who passes, Washington gets a headline with the word open in it, and the market gets barrels. We think it probably happens, and that it changes nothing, because a permission-based channel that expires in 4 months is a subscription Tehran can cancel on any morning it needs a crisis. What would change our minds is checkable. A named Iranian signing authority appearing in public to own a signature, together with a dated and sustained halt to American strikes. Not a claim that a deal is close, a name and a signature. And then there are the people all of this lands on. In Tehran on the 6th of August, a woman walked past a wall mural, ordinary life going on, in a city whose government has spent this war closing the one waterway its own economy depends on. Iranians did not choose the blockade, and they did not choose the toll, and they pay for both, at the counter and in the fuel queue. 3 things to watch. Whether the Oman route ever carries a ship, and who is permitted onto it. Bab el-Mandeb, because the second door is where this war is growing. And a name, because the moment anyone in Tehran is allowed to sign in public, everything on this board changes. Until then, the men deciding are the ones who just collected 6 new commands. Bottom line, Washington and Tehran are both holding the Strait of Hormuz shut while blaming each other, which is why this war moved to the Red Sea instead of to a table. 2 seconds before you go. The board moves every day. We would rather you saw it moving than heard about it after. If this breakdown helped you see the week clearly, hit like. It is free and it tells us to keep drawing the board. And subscribe, because the board moves every day, so you catch the pieces before they move.